Hello, everyone. Sorry about the delay. The internet was not cooperating there for a second, and I got a little bit panicked, but I think that we're good to go now. If everyone will give me a little thumbs up or something and let me know. Hello, Rachel saying, hey, Kelley. So I'm hoping that we are live and we're good to go. Welcome, everyone that is here in the chat. Let's see, okay, Lisa saying, hey, Kelley. Okay, we must be good. Hockey Spaz, hello. Okay, Tanya's giving me the thumbs up. We're good to go. Thank you. I got a little panicked because it would not go live for a second. Okay, where everybody's waving. Okay, good. Welcome everybody, and welcome everybody that will catch the replay later on. We are going to create a card tonight, and I'm going to show you an example of a card that is a little more like not holiday, because this set that I'm going to use tonight can kind of go for different occasions because of the way that the illustrations and the artwork is done. Okay, so welcome everyone. Hello, Sherry, Michelle, Jenna, Betsy. Hello, Tanya, Jen. Everyone is over in the chat. Hello. I just love our community of people because you guys are awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go down to my desk view here. So I'm going to be creating tonight with the Winter Watercolor stamp set. And this, because of the way that the flowers and things are drawn, and depending on the inks and papers and things you choose, you can totally make this into a card that is not holiday. It can even go a little tropical, I think, because of these kind of stylized, like poinsettia looking flowers. And you can see here, I have tucked the kind of pine branches in here, but if you leave those out, and with the other greenery, you can kind of go a little more springtime, tropical, do yellows and oranges and things like that, and get a totally different look. Okay, so here is our stamp set tonight. I'm going to go full holiday tonight using some of our holiday paper, using the stamps. They are solid stamps. So I'm going to show you how I blend inks and things directly onto my stamps. I know there's a lot of different techniques you can use, and I'm just going to show you what works for me. I like doing this because literally you can stamp it over and over and over and over again until you get the look that you're going for. Now I'm going to mix it up a little bit tonight. I'm going to stamp these onto craft cardstock because, like I said, I'm going with holiday paper and all the good things. So this is what's going to be my background, which is a little bit busy. I'm going to use some other layers of paper on here to kind of tone down the busy background, but this is where I'm getting my color scheme. So reds, pinks, kind of this icy blue, greens, of course, for the holiday. And then we're going to pull in the craft cardstock to kind of bring out some of the browns and the colors in the pine cones and the little stems and things like that. So I'm going to start out by doing all of my stamping first. And I'm using the two little pine branches, one of the little watercolor florals, and then I'm going to try to pull in one other little stem here and kind of change up the greens and things on the stem. Okay, so here's my stamp set. I'm going to set it aside, and I have several different colors of oxide inks. And they are just what I prefer and I have the most colors of to, ink blend and do different things like that. Now, in playing around with my inks today, let me show you what I did. I swatched these, and I swatch them just on some different colors of cardstock to try to figure out which of my red ink colors are going to give me the shades that I need to go with my pattern paper. So I don't know if any of you do this, So my pattern paper, plus I'm going to pull in some solid red cardstock. So when we pull in this solid red, you can really see where some of the colors like this one here, you can really see the bluish red. This is Lumberjack Plaid, which normally this is what I would reach for first when doing a holiday card, because Lumberjack Plaid, you're thinking, oh, absolutely, that's going to be the best. But when I flip this piece of paper over here, you're going to really see how this Festive Berries really goes a lot better with my red cardstock. And then it's going to go well also with my pattern paper that I have chosen here. So I'm really glad that I kind of swatched this out. I could kind of figure out what colors that I needed to use for my flower, my big flower. And I am going to put Lumberjack Plaid away because we know that was really blue. And I'm going to go with the Festive Berries. And I'm also going to pull in, I think, a little bit of the Spun Sugar to pull in a little touch of that pink. And so I'm going to go with Spun Sugar all over, and it's going to be hard to see there for just a second, all over this big kind of watercolor flower that I have here. And I'm just going to load up that whole flower. And let me show you what I do. Did I get any? Nope, didn't get any on my little pine branches that I have there. Okay, so I've started out with my Spun Sugar. And I'm going to go ahead and just stamp this down. Now, because these are big, nice, solid stamps, you can really add some muscle in there to get that down. And I like to go over and over it and kind of get all that juicy ink right on my paper. Now, that's not going to look like much right now because it's that really light pink. But when we start adding in the Festive Berries, that's where we're going to get some color change here. Okay, so Festive Berries, I am going to use my little finger sponges, and these you could use some little detail brushes. Your big blending brushes are probably not going to give you the results that you want. Just because the bristles are designed more for like ink blending over stencils and things like that, to be a little bit more, I don't know the word that I am looking for here, but it's not going to pack the punch as much as these little finger daubers will. I'm going to kind of carry this up and just kind of barely pounce to blend that color out on the tips. And let's go ahead and let's stamp it down and let's see what we get here. And so again, I'm going to grab my little pressure tool here and really get that ink there on the paper, and then let's pick it up. Okay, now you're starting to see the little pink tips here. You can see here where I've got a really distinctive line. I don't really want that, so I know I'm going to want to go back over that. And so let's go ahead. I'm not even going to ink up my little dauber again, and I can kind of look here, find my distinctive line, figure out which little petal it is, and then I can kind of blend that out a little bit more and soften that line. I can go over the center again because it's going to deepen it up a little bit. And this is all I do. I just keep kind of working that color down and blending everything around until I get it where I want it. Now, a project like this, where you ink it over and over and over again, that's where kind of the beauty of having a stamping tool is going to help. I can't imagine, we're so spoiled with our Misties and our stamp platforms and, you know, all the things like that. I can't imagine trying to do something like this with an acrylic block. I'm sure some of you pros could probably do that. I'm going to call it like it is. I'm too lazy to do that. So, all right, now you can see we've got some really good color here. We've got the pink on the tips. I'm actually going to go back in on the tips of my little poinsettia or my little watercolor flower. Let's move my mess over here. I'm not going to clean anything off. I'm just going to go right over and kind of pounce that over the tip just a little bit, just like so. And let's put it back down and let's see what we get. It's like experimenting. It's like doing a science experiment to see what we're going to get with the color. Okay, now you can see where that did blend it out and lighten up those tips just a hair. That's what I want, is I just want just a little bit. Okay, now let's talk about how we can darken up the center a little bit. There's a couple of things that I could do. I could go in with the Lumberjack Plaid, and I may try that just to deepen up that center, and it's not going to be touching any of my cardstock, so that might look good. I'm going to try that first. And then I could get really experimental and go in really dark with like my black soot. So I'm going to go in with that more bluish red here and put that down, and let's see if that deepened it up. It deepened it up, if you'll notice, right here in the center. We're getting a little bit. Okay, I think we're onto something. So let me take my Lumberjack Plaid. And I totally lied and said I wasn't going to use it, but I think we're going to use it just a hair, just to deepen up the center portion, but not all over the petals. There we go, just like that. And oh, you're really starting to see that come out there. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to call it good. I'm going to put all my little daubers, my little sponge daubers away. And now I'm going to start working on the pine and the other little florals we have here. Okay, so for my pine branches, I think I'm going to use iced spruce, because that's going to give me that bluish green color like we have in some of the leaves here. So that's going to pull that in. And then I want to go in with a lighter green. I'm thinking bundled sage. And so I think I'm going to do bundled sage first. And so I'm going to go all over these solid stamps with bundled sage and just give them a good little coat of that ink. And then let's go ahead and put this down and see what we're working with here. And bundled sage, I think that's a beautiful color just all by itself. But we're going to put that down and let that ink really get in there and do its job. And then we can see our light little coating we have here. Do you guys hear the door of my Misty? This is a brand new Misty, and I haven't worked like the kinks out of the hinges yet. And every time I open it and close it, it's like an old screen door where it doesn't want to do its thing. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the ice spruce now, which is that kind of gray, blue, green color. And I'm going to go right up my stem on both ends and just kind of start working that around. Maybe hit some of these bottom little sprigs, working it around. And I like that the sponge dauber little thing, I don't know what the actual technical name to these are, but they almost give it like a that spongy kind of spotted look. And so let's let that do its thing. I just got one and no squeaks yet. Well, okay, that's really deep. And you see I'm almost losing my little green tips there. So you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the lid on that one. I'm liking this, and I'm going to go back with the bundled sage. This is the beauty of just stamp, stamp, stamp until you're happy with how it looks, right? Let's move it out. Let's add some bundled sage. And if you didn't like bundled sage, if we didn't like the way that that looked at all, I could go in with a totally different, like darker green and add that over the top and it would be fine. You can just blend until your heart's content and it would be fine. Okay, I'm getting a little more green here. I'm liking that. I'm going to call that good. Okay, now let's work on our other little leaf that we have here, little sprig. And this is where I'm going to go darker with the more classic like greens. And I'm going to go first with, let's do kind of an olive to the Rustic Wilderness, which Rustic Wilderness is probably my very favorite green. Okay, so we've got that olive color. Let's go ahead and stamp it down and see what we're working with here. There we go. Pretty. But you know, we can't leave well enough alone. So I'm going to take my Rustic Wilderness here and find my little Rustic Wilderness finger sponge. And I'm going to go right up that little, what would be the stem, and kind of pounce it around on there. And I'm going to get the bottom here like really good and juicy. There we go. Maybe take it out just a little bit more on those bottom leaves. And then let's see how we're looking here after we go over the top. And really give that a rub down. Leave well enough and I never know. Tanya knows. Okay, I like this. And do you see how I'm getting like the little splotchies on the side? I actually like that. I think it makes it look like the little watercolor-y design. So I'm going to leave that. Okay. So all these are looking good. I'm actually going to take, no, let's not risk. I was going to use my acrylic block on the center, but after I've done all of that blending on there, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to take these off and I'm going to make a little happy little pile of stamps over here. And then I'm going to stamp the center in. Okay, so let me find my stamp set. Here we go. Okay, so in this stamp set, there are these three little, I assumed they were berries, but I think that they can be used either as berries, like on some of these little things, or I think they can be used as the centers of the flowers too. So tonight I'm going to use them as the centers of the flowers. And so I'm going to take it here and I'm going to put it right over the top, just wherever, you know, I want it to go, like so. And I'm going to get really wild here and I'm going to stamp this in black soot. And so some of you are probably like, why in the world would you stamp the center of the flower? If I can find, there we go, in black soot, because I'm thinking about the color of my pattern paper. And so I'm really wanting to go with that black gray center. Okay, let's do that. Let's go over that some more. And I can make this as light or as dark as I want it. Okay, we're looking good. All right, while I have my Misty out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. So this sentiment is from, let's find it here on the messy desk. This is from the Let It Snow stamp set. And I'm using this Marion Bright. So we're going to go all out holiday here. And I think I'm going to stamp this in, I think I'm going to go with the Festive Berries. I think we're going to pull out the red again. I like to stamp. Does anybody else stamp with their oxide inks? Like when you want a colorful sentiment? I could go with black too. Okay. Let's see. Love the snowflakes. All right. You guys tell me. Let's do a little poll. Let's have a little chat here. So do I go black with the sentiment because of the pattern paper, let me kind of show you where we're headed here so you can kind of get the lay of the land. So, okay, craft card base, beautiful floral pattern paper, red, and then I've got this little situation here that we'll discuss here in a minute. And you'll see where I've pressed a cover plate into that. This is going to kind of be my resting place. And then I'm going to have my little spray of florals. So do I go red or do I go black? Because now I'm torn. Black, I use my oxides all the time. I do as well. This set would be to craft for wrapping paper. Oh my word. I've got some craft wrapping paper. Red. See, now who is that? Donna is throwing my game off here. Okay, most everybody's saying black. Lisa said black too. All right, Lisa's the boss. I make her think that she's the boss. No, not really. She's the boss. But okay, black. So I'm going to stamp the black right there, and I'm just going to use our intense black ink. Usually for sentiments, I use VersaFine because it's kind of a one and done. Stamp it and you're good to go. And it's really crisp. This is more for when you're wanting to do your coloring and things, but it was right there in my grasp. Okay, we're looking good. So let's pull that out. And let's get rid of the squeaky door here. And then let's go now back to our little desk view. Okay, so we're looking good. Now, before I do anything else with this, I'm going to die cut it. So I've got my coordinating dies. No, I don't. They're all right here. And let's just get these all lined up and do our little puzzle piecing here so we can get them all cut out. Let's see, I usually try to stamp in a color, and if it's readable, I go with it. Otherwise, I just do, again, a black. Yes. Same. I like to stamp in color. Sometimes I do. Sometimes it depends. If we're wanting to add a little pizzazz, we can stamp in color, especially if we're already using like the oxides and things like that. I like to do that. And then sometimes, it's just good. Excuse my head that's in the way. Sometimes it's just easier to go with a good old black ink. Okay, I'm going to line this little puppy up here. Make sure all of our little sprigs are all lined up. And then our last little leaf, I like the way that those colors blended there. What was that? Peeled paint and then Rustic Wilderness. That's a good mix there. Okay, and then we'll do this one here in just a second. All right, we're going to go to the die machine and cut these. Okay, there's one. And there's the others. All right, let's see here. It's called highlight. Yes, it's called highlighter tape. I think it used to be called Easy C tape, and it's highlighter tape. I'm guessing it's because you can see through it and put it in like books and things to study. So, us crafters are using things that probably weren't really designed for crafting. But here we go. I have to warn you one thing about highlighter tape, and I use it all the time. You have to be really careful with it with water because the color will come off on your project. So like this is pink. It will separate a little bit and come off. And then when you work with it, like I like to reuse my tape a lot. Like I'll stick them all over on the side of my desk and reuse them. It will end up breaking down a little bit if you use it over and over and over again, like I do. Okay, so let's find the coordinating die for this and see. I'm going to reuse. Let's peel back. Let's use this little guy right here. Nope, he doesn't want to come off. And then I'm going to reuse this one and line it up. Make sure all of our little twists and curls and everything are all ready to go. And then I'm just going to run this through my big machine again since it's all ready to go. Let's see here. I stick my tape to my die cutter. That's what Lisa does too. She sticks it to her die cutter. And I usually have a whole spot. Let me go here so we can chat while I'm pulling these out. I have a whole spot over here on the side of my desk where I like stick it to the side of my desk. And usually I've got, oh mercy, a whole bunch of tape and foam tape and all kinds of things sticking around. And then I use them until I can't use them anymore. Because we might as well, right? Okay, let's put that away. Now, let's get to our card and then where we're going to start building this, okay? So, craft card base. So, let's go ahead and fold this down. I'm just going to use my little bone folder here. Okay. Ooh, that's a scrap now. That's going to be die cuts. Let's be more careful here with that one. And then I'm going to fold this. And let me show you. I don't know if you know this little trick, but if you stick all your corners right in here, you know when you use your score buddy, and then you go to fold your card base, it's still a little wonky. If you'll stick everything up in your corner and then really push these little edges down, it will kind of keep everything the way it's supposed to go. I don't know if anybody else has that problem like I do, but sometimes even when you use your scoring tool, everything gets a little bit wonky, or maybe that's just me. But I learned that trick from Kathy Zielski, I believe. I'm sure I was probably watching one of her live streams or a video or something like that, but she did that and I thought, well, that's brilliant. I never would have thought to, because we stick it in our little tool and you expect it, or I did, kind of to do all the work for you, but we have to learn all the little tips and tricks. Okay, I love this black cardstock. Look at this on the craft. There, let's make sure we got everything lined up. Look how beautiful. I love like black floral. I think it's so pretty. Okay, then this red is going to go down next. And I know I have to cover a little bit of it up, but it's also going to kind of tone down like the busyness of the cardstock, I think. We're still going to be able to see it, but it's just going to tone it down just a hair. Okay, so I'm going to pop that down and I'm going to hold it up. And while that liquid adhesive is still kind of setting up, I can kind of do this number. Okay, so let's talk about these two pieces for a second. Well, I wanted to pull in a little bit of pink because we have the really pretty pink in like the berries and things around here. So I have the pink and I've used these Sentiment Frames dies. This is an old die set from probably 2 or 3 years ago. And tonight I really wanted to try to figure out, hi Penny. I really wanted to try to figure out how to use maybe some things like this layering frame set that wasn't designed for the holidays. So this layering frame set, let me show you. This is the one that we released in the spring. And this is the Spring Vines layering frame. You can see it's very floral, very leafy, but I thought it would be pretty and something different. And then we pulled in the Sentiment frames. And then, of course, because I couldn't leave well enough alone, I'm using this And Lisa's going to have to tell us in the comments because I've already forgot. We looked it up today together and now I've forgotten the name of it again. But this is the, Lisa's going to tell us because she's going to remember. But all this does is it almost acts as an embossing folder almost, but in die form. And so I pressed craft cardstock, and it was the center of the frame. So I know everything's going to match up. But okay, Winter Gems. Thank you. That's the Winter Gems A2 cover plate. Okay. And so it presses all that pretty texture in there. So I think what I'm going to do first is I am going to kind of line up my pink frame. I'm going to do that first and then just insert the center that I use the Winter Gems cover plate on. I wanted that center, instead of it being totally flat like this, I wanted it to have a little bit of interest and texture to it. Okay, so let's try not to make a mess here. I'm going to kind of use the sides of the red to kind of eyeball. And I'm going to hold this up just a little bit in front of my eyes so I can kind of figure out and make sure that that little pink frame is kind of where I want it to go. Okay, it debosses. Nice textural touch for a background. Thank you, Miss Betsy. See, Betsy's a pro. It debosses. Yep, and you could probably, it's not as pretty on the other side, but this one for sure. Whereas Betsy's right. That's a better way to explain that with the debossing, where it's really going to press into the paper. Whereas our embossing folders are going to give us more of the hills and valleys, to where you're going to have raised portions and you're going to have lower portions, and then you're going to have the in-between, like with the 3D. This is really just going to press all that pretty, almost like a letterpress look into the paper. Okay, so there we go with that. Now I'm just going to adhere this flat inside there because I think I'm going to get a lot of dimension with our florals that we have stamped. And so I'm just going to insert this like a little puzzle piece here and kind of shimmy that around until it kind of nestles right in there. And I'm going to hold that down and let that liquid adhesive really do its job. You could flip your embossing folder papers too. Totally, you could do that. I did that, and a Hockey Spaz, I know you're a new friend. I did that with one of our new fall embossing folders and did kind of a fun technique with that. And it made it so cool to, flip it over and kind of use it up, what we think of as the upside down. All right, now I'm going to adhere my sentiment first because I'm a huge sentiment forgetter. I don't know if that's like the technical term. I'm sorry for the pops. I'm opening new foam dots and I had to pop that package. But usually, because I get so excited about putting all my little goodies on my card, that I forget, about my sentiment ends up being an afterthought almost, and it shouldn't be that, but I get so excited about putting like the flowers and all the pretty little things on that I forget. So I'm going to take one of my little foam dots here, and let's see if I can kind of hide it back here. Yep, I can. And then let's place this, and I want to do it right, kind of nestle it right up in this corner. And let's pick it up, and I'm going to kind of shimmy it around a little bit and then press it. Okay, it's looking pretty cute. I love you guys' choice of the black. Smart choice. And now we have our kind of like stylized little kind of poinsettia situation here. And I'm going to pop it up too. So I'm going to put a foam dot right in the center. But before I glue it down, I'm going to take my petals and I'm just going to give them just a little bit of a bend. And I know that's like sacrilegious to kind of bend our paper up, but I think it needs just a little bit of kind of something. Okay, so I'm going to nestle this guy kind of, let's see how we want to put him. Let's see here. I think I like it kind of like that. And I'm going to kind of nestle it right over there in the corner. And then now let's do our pine. And these I could pop them up. I could do them flat. I think we've got a lot of dimension going on right there. So I think I'm going to do these, maybe a little bit of a curl, but glue them down more flat with liquid adhesive. And I'm going to have one kind of nestled right down in here. And I'm going to hold that down. Let's see here. I do it all. Kelley, Gretchen does too. Bends it too, maybe. Okay, and I'm going to bend here. Give that a little bit of shape, a little bit of interest so it's not just flat. And we're going to tuck this in right over here. Kind of make a little swag down here. And then we've got our little green one. I think I'm going to nestle it in kind of right over in here like that. Or we could even go, oh, I like it over here, I think even better. So we can see this nice, pretty bright green. Let's do that. I'm going to go right down in here. There we go. This is really different looking. I kind of like the black back there. The black paper just really like sets that off. Okay, now, do we need, because we can't leave well enough alone, do we need pearls on here? This is the holiday wishes. So this coordinates with the paper pad. And if I did anything, I may pull in a couple little gold ones. Yeah, we're going to go for it. This is all out tonight. We're using ink. We're using dyes. We're using stamps. We're going to just go whole hog here. And instead of putting them where normally I would probably put them down in here, I'm just going to do a little, like a few kind of just nestled around, like they're blended in to the design a little bit. One, two, three. Let's get another small one. Let's pull some out into here. And we got to have one more. We have to have the odd number here. And let's do one more. Maybe right in there. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Let me go here to share the screen. Okay. Very classy. Yes. And you know what's different about these pearls? If you look here, is the gold is almost matte. It's not super duper shiny, which is different because we have the super duper shiny ones, but these are kind of cool because they're, and you'll notice here on the project to where they just kind of go with like the crafty cardstock, like the watercolory look, where they're not just like in your face, super gold and shiny. So they're a little bit different, and that's in the holiday wishes. But we've got some pretty reds here going into where the pink, where it matches the pink in the paper. We've got a teal green, which matches probably some of the other papers in the paper pad. It almost goes with that. And then this is almost a gray. But any of those would have been really pretty. But I kind of like that muted kind of matte gold finish on that one. It's really pretty. Kelley, it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And we are all finished tonight. And I love this. I really, really wanted to use that black paper, but I had to figure out like, how are we going to kind of make it not so busy? And I think like the pine here kind of goes with the design and everything fits well. So I think that was really fun. I think that was a fun choice. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I want you to tell me in the comment. My shirt matches it. Here, let's do like this. It does. It does match it. Tell me in the comments, because last few weeks actually, I've been doing, thank you, Lisa. I see you. While we're talking about our winner here, Jenna, you're the winner. How many of you, tell me in the comments, have made gift tags or ornaments in the last couple of weeks? I want you guys to share with me. So tell me really quick before we call it a night. Let's see here. I'm going to wait. Congratulations to Jenna. How many of you have made gift tags or ornaments? Susan has made ornaments. Beth has made, let's see here. So many gift tags, says Jillian. Jen, awesome. Embroidery hoops. Yes. Yes. I love it. Nana's made gift tags, Hanukkah cards and tags. I love it. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome sauce. Okay, you guys join me back here on Wednesday night. And before I sign off, Jenna, make sure you email me, Kelley, Kelley, at honeybeestamps.com, so you can claim your prize. Been sick, no crafting. Well, that is crummy. No tags or ornaments yet. I made 100. Okay, Natalie, you're off the hook because you've made 150 cards. We will let you off the hook. And Gretchen, I hope you feel better soon. All right, friends, come back on Wednesday night for some more crafty chat and some more crafty time. I hope I see you then. And I'll be back on Wednesday. Bye-bye, friends.